In the folklore of this region, a great deal has been written and sung about the sea. However, relatively little has been heard about us, the enthusiastic mariners, and so it seems that we are happier to gaze on the open waters from the shore rather than from a ship's deck. This time, everything is different. We, the Balts, are off to sea ourselves. This is an unprecedented event in local yachting history. Participants in the Baltic Open Regatta will have to cover the distance from Lithuania's sea gateway Klaipėda to Latvia's capital smoked fish Pāvilosta and its number one port Ventspils, then on to Estonia, first to the holiday island Ruhnu, said to be favoured by bears and ice floes, and finally to Kuressaare on the island of Saaremaa. The Cerny Baltic Open participants can expect an adventure-filled week, during which they have to cover about 300 sea miles or more than 500 kilometres through the waters of the Baltic Sea. They will have to enjoy genuine competitive spirit and celebrate at noisy parties in various ports of the three Baltic states. There'll be no shortage of company to complain about. 24 yachts brought with them 180 participants from Estonia, Lithuania, Poland and Latvia. I remember the Soviet times. That's when we had the Baltic Cup. The regattas set off from St. Petersburg and continued on to various Baltic ports. The Baltic Open is an excellent idea. We have to say a big thank you to the organisers for starting up something like this. It's not at all easy to organise.
Благодарство только организаторам, что они предпринимали такую работу. Это нелегко организовать такое соревнование.
I found out about this regatta on the internet. What interested me was that there will be many yachts from Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia. This is a major celebration for yachtsmen.
Это будет самый большой праздник для форсайлер.
As the starting point of the regatta, Klaipėda was chosen. It is not without foundation, considered the sea gateway of Lithuania. As in almost all Baltic cities, the Germans ran things here for quite a long time. Even today, it reminds you of a small, cosy German provincial town. And this impression is reinforced by the huge ferry from Lübeck, which brings here each week hundreds of German tourists who rush to the local pubs and alfresco cafes. We should mention that the participants of the regatta have also been working on this, both evenings that they were here. The first day of the regatta is like a warm-up over a relatively short distance. The yachts have to cover the ground from Klaipėda to nearby Palanga and then back again. Only a few minutes left to the start, and the participants are impatiently awaiting the judges' signal to start the regatta. Some get off to a better start, others don't have such a good one. Some participants manage to get away only at the third try after a few false starts. For some, it's a matter of nerves and they cross the starting line before the judge's horn. For others, on the other hand, there are other but no less well-founded reasons. Well, you saw for yourselves how we started. We got the starting groups mixed up. We started with the large yachts. But when it came to our turn, we missed it. But that's normal. Darius has just acquired his boat in the Netherlands, so she is still sailing under the Dutch flag. Having only just arrived from Amsterdam, the skipper and his crew joined the Cerny Baltic Open directly. There's no time to re-register under the Lithuanian flag, nor is the time to visit his wife and children. Tajana, that's my wife's name. Before our wedding, when we were jokingly discussing the marriage contract, I said, Tajana, I love you very much, but I love the sea even more. At first she was happy, but then later she realized that her husband was a little mad and devotes all his free time to sailing.
Муж чуть-чуть чокнутый, и все время, если есть время идти на парус, и это первое место.
Today, on the first day of the competition, the weather conditions hold no surprises. There's a fresh wind, and so, in a couple of hours, the faster boats are back. We had some very interesting moments today. And the race with the Latvian yacht Mama was lively. At times they were ahead of us, and at other times we led. It was crazy. The start was odd. Until we got trimmed, we lost half the distance. The crew is new, We haven't done a lot of training this year, but well, we tried. After the day's racing, the Sony Baltic Open opening ceremony takes place at the harbour side. The competitors drink local Toreiz beer, but Ilgonis, the godfather of the regatta and the skipper of the Latvian boat Ra, acquires a new seaman's hat as well. He receives it from the mayor of Klaipēda, Rimantis Taurasīfos, who apparently at the beginning had not been convinced about the idea of organising a regatta such as this. However, now, having seen this all become reality, he's enthusiastic, inviting everyone to come back and visit next year. The second day of the competition. At around lunchtime, the starting signal is given for the longest leg of the regatta, from Klaipēda to Pāvilostas. The direction of the wind is not favourable, and as evening approaches, it drops noticeably. After sunset, it falls off completely. The yachtsmen have no option other than to wait till it comes back again. At dawn, not only does the wind come back, but it's also rather strong and has changed direction. The yacht crews raise their spinnakers, enormous coloured sails, which are used to achieve maximum sailing speed when going downwind. The tortuous hours spent standing still in the lull are over, and the yachts rush forward towards the finish. It's a difficult night not only for the sailors, but also for the competition judges. They keep track of the regatta on the internet without a break. Each yacht has a GPS transmitter, which means that each one can be tracked and its position plotted on the chart. As the faster yachts approach Pāvilostas, the judges go to sea. They have to set up the finishing line and then wait. This waiting time is not of the most pleasant. Over the long distance, the yachts are spread out, and from the moment when the fastest boat finishes to when the line is crossed by the last yacht takes a number of hours. The judges spend this time rocking in the waves, which, with each passing moment, are becoming ever larger. By about 7 in the morning, most of the yachts have reached the finish, and after a sleepless night, the crews can take a rest. The evening in Pāvilostas is spent dining on fish, drinking beer, and enjoying the live music. It's the next day of the competition. Accompanied by a police escort, a black Mercedes drives into the port. The regatta patron, chairman of the Latvian Parliament, daudzu, is to take part in this leg of the competition. Although the shortest and seemingly easiest, for many of the competitors this third stage of the regatta from Pāvilos to Ventspils will stay in their memories as the most vivid passage of the competition. The wind direction is favourable. However, at times gusts reach 18 metres per second, that's 35 knots. The strong wind and the breaking waves, occasionally hitting 2 metres in height, mean that the sailing competition more and more begins to resemble a surfing competition. What's happening is that all the power of nature explodes in an instant and is taken up by the boat. The boat gets lifted up into the air and you simply scud across the surface of the sea. The competitors' sense of adventure has proved to be greater than their fear. Despite the high winds, almost all of the yachts have hoisted their spinnakers, but for many, there is a price to pay. This here is the spinnaker, a sail made from an extremely lightweight and durable material. Yachtsmen sometimes joke that it tears at a speed of 100 euros per second. During this leg, 8 such sails were ripped up. In the fierce wind, not only the light spinnakers are torn, but even heavier sails, and yacht equipment is damaged too. We were really going. We were moving very fast, slammed into the next wave. The crew were all there, but no foresail. That was dragging in the water. So we went fishing, not only with the spinnaker, not only with the jenica, but also with the foresail. In the entire history of the boat, this has never been experienced until now. Meanwhile, the Lithuanian yacht has been left without its motor. Surfing towards the finish line, right near Ventspils, she runs into some fishing nets at great speed. Truth is, the seafarers are not too worried by the facts. Near Ventspils, we caught some fishing nets. Now we've got problems with the motor. But it's a yacht, after all, and we get by perfectly well without an engine. It was a long stretch, and in truth a lot happened along the way. Chief thing about it all is the sea and your emotions. That's unforgettable. If you're talking about fear, there's no room for that. If you're going to get scared and at some point neglect to do something, it could all come to a bad end. In conditions like that, you mustn't have fear, and there's no time to even think about it.
Tad, var bēdīgi ar tās beigties. Principā, pie tādiem apstākļiem baidīties nedrīkst, un pat īsti nav laika domāt.
I've got to say, I've never been at sea in such big waves. The sensation's indescribable. The main thing, there's no smell of fuel, there's no noise, just this amazing sensation. Even if somewhat buffeted by the strong wind, nevertheless, by the next day, one and all are ready for one of the most attractive parts of the regatta, the media regatta. Lots of media representatives travel to Ventspils to try out their sailing skills and resistance to seasickness. It's true that no competition takes place because to go to sea in such strong winds with an inexperienced crew is not a smart thing. But in situations like this, it's important to react at the time. If there's no competition, then there is a carnival on the water, and it seems none of the guests are too upset about the cancellation of the racing. The fourth leg, Ventspils-Ruchnu Island. The starting signal goes off at 9 a.m. so that by the time it gets dark, the boats will have managed to slip through the Urbas Narrows and across the waters of the Gulf of Riga to Ruchnu Island. 3 hours after the start, while still in the Erebus Narrows, there is a gale warning, promising gusts of up to 20 metres per second. That's almost 40 knots. This means that you have to be careful and watch these clouds, because a powerful thunderstorm and the gusts that accompany it can make serious trouble. Indeed, the rumble of the thunder can be heard, yet the storm cloud itself bypassed the regatta. A couple of hours later, the Coast Guard withdraws its radio warning. But as soon as the anxiety about the potential storm has died down, the yachtsmen's nerves are being tested by Ruknu Island. On their starboard tack, the competitors have to go around the island's northern tip, which is rife with underwater rocks. This time, none of the competitors take much of a risk, and they give the rocky headland a wide berth. By dusk, all have safely reached the finish. The day at Ruknu Island gets off to a brisk start. Most of the course, the Sony Baltic Open Regatta, has been completed, and now there remains only the one stretch from Ruknu to Kuressaare. For some, this will be the decider, and that's exactly why the competitors start that day not lying about in the sunshine, but getting the yachts ready for tomorrow's start instead. Crews are busy cleaning and preparing. Down by the water's edge, Preet, the harbour master of Ruknu Island port, is also busy doing his many chores. The port chief says that in recent years, Ruknu Island has become a favoured tourist destination, visited not only by the local Estonians, but also by many Latvians. I've noticed that over the past few years, the Latvians have a kind of competition. Who will be the first to get to Ruknu Island in the spring? So that every year, the first visitors here are usually Latvians. However, those early bird yachtsmen from Latvia are not the only ones who've managed to catch the inhabitants of Ruknu Island unawares. 2 years ago, a bear had landed up here, having sailed across on an ice floe from the mainland. For a number of weeks, Teddy terrorized local residents and deprived the peace of Estonian environmental protection inspectors, who spent weeks trying to catch him. Meanwhile, Teddy became a real front-page star of the Baltic press. It turned out that the bear was much more cunning than his would-be captors, and they never did manage to catch up with him. That bear is real X-Files material. No one knows where he's disappeared off to. I reckon that he swam away from here. Or she. We don't know whether it was a male or a female. They say that the bear grew bored on the island and swam back home. There have been attempts by skeptics to cast doubt on whether the bear ever really was on the island in the first place. However, Preet categorically refutes all statements implying that the furry creature may have been a figment of the islander's imagination. There really was a bear here. I saw the footprints myself. A human doesn't leave tracks like that. From the paw prints, you could see that the bear had leapt down a steep bank. They were real tracks, not some sort of imitation.
Отпечатки остались, как падает там, это уж точно оригиналы, не какие-то самодельки.
Cartoon film editor Jānis Simaranis has absolutely no doubt there really was a bear on Ruknu Island. He was here to present a cartoon film, Karu Tule, dedicated to the saga of the bear. In translation in Estonian, it means the bear is coming. To believe in something so cool, in whatever it may be. The key thing is to believe.
Galvenais ticēt, jā. Ticēt, un tas ir galvenais.
The cartoon film was shown to the local residents as well as to the competitors. Both audiences were enthralled. At the end of the film, the hero raises the sail and departs from the cozy island. The next day, the participants of the regatta will have to do the same. The last day of the regatta, the leg from Ruknu Island to the port of Kuressaare on Estonia's largest island, Saaremaa, will be the deciding factor for many. The judge's horn has just sounded, and it's immediately obvious that yachting is not only about intensive teamwork, but also a matter of somewhat complicated tactics. It's not uncommon that in their quest for victories, skippers take some fairly risky decisions. This time, as soon as the start has been signalled, two boats choose to take a risky step. Instead of following the main body, the regatta participants on the shorter route past the northern tip of the island, so that afterwards they can turn for Kurosare, they go around and along the southern coast. Who knows? Perhaps it is the right choice, and on the other side of the island they will catch a more advantageous wind. This, however, will only become clear at the finish. Along the way, the wind is variable. Immediately after the start, the boats streak forwards. If it continues like this, the competitors will be in Kurosare in time for lunch. But these hopes are in vain. An hour and a half after the start, the wind drops. The quick run becomes a feverish tugging at the sails, attempting to pick up the slightest breath of wind to make the yacht move forward. And a little while later it starts to rain. The participants of the regatta wait impatiently for the moment when the weather forecast will come true, when the wind will change direction and increase in strength. There's a 2-hour delay until the forecast materializes. The wind rises, however the rain persists. The air temperature is dropping with each moment that passes, clothing gets wetter and wetter, and the teeth are chattering ever more loudly. But ahead, there's still the Bay of Kurosare, which is full of rocks and shoals, so this is no time to dream about warm sunshine. The wind is reasonably constant. Since it reappeared, the yacht's been whizzing along briskly, and by dusk, they're inside the Romosada port area. As they near the finish, coming up to the Romosada Yacht Club, it becomes apparent that several hours of getting drenched have not been for nothing. On the shore, they're greeted by hostesses in national dress, bearing traditional Sarama schnapps and pickled gherkins. The mood takes a further turn for the better, when it becomes apparent that in the clubhouse there is a sauna already fired up, and hot soup is about to be served. It's now more than a week since the first start signal in Klaipėda, and now the time has come for the awards ceremony. The first 3 prizes in the A group, the largest yachts, have been won by the Estonians. Yet in the B and D groups, which are for the smaller boats, all the rivals have been left behind by the yachts from Latvia. The Lithuanians have also shown themselves to be powerful competitors. Having started on a yacht which has only just been bought and not yet accustomed to, they lay claim to 3rd place. The Poles, for their part, are threatening revenge next year. For Ilgonis from the Latvian Ra, the conclusion of the awards ceremony has the most traditional ending of all. It may seem a little strange, but you're about to witness a ritual of respect according to the best racing yachtsman's traditions. After racing, the winners are thrown into the water. The boat Ra really did come first in the group. However, this time there's another reason. Ilgonis is also taking a swim on behalf of the team who organised this splendid Sony Baltic Open Regatta. The idea originated with Kubak Baltii from Soviet times, and which nobody has forgotten. As we already saw at the start, the deputy mayor of Klaipėda promised they would meet up later this year, all interested parties, and make some definite plans for the future of the Baltic Open. Next year we'll go a little further, not only as far as Romosada, but as far as Pānu, and later maybe even to St. Petersburg. So 300 sea miles have been covered, all the way from Klaipėda to Kurosare. In the regatta, which lasted over a week, 180 participants have felt on their own skin storms, flat calms, rain and sun. Each will go home with his or her own personal experiences. Right at this moment, I can't take it all in. I see in front of my eyes the yacht, I see the crew, I see the sails, and it's difficult for me to express.
Man tā grūti izstāstīt to visu. Tas ir...
You have to feel it.
Tas laikam jājūt.
It's the best regatta in the Baltic. I'm already looking forward to next year, so that we can take part all over again. Immediately after the awards, the sailors part ways. Some are already setting sail, so they make it back in time for work on Monday. Others continue to celebrate victory in the yacht club. And so the competitors disperse, so next year at around the same time, they can meet again on the start line for the Sony Baltic Open 2009 regatta.